Hey guys, what's going on? I'm John Malecki, and in this video, I'm gonna turn a keg into a cooler. Check it out. Got a little juice in it?
Yeah, that's straight out of the bag.
So I start this project by cutting open the keg. We did depressurize it by draining as much air as possible, but there was some left over, and you saw that sprayed me right in the chest when I got through the wall. The keg is stainless steel and is super hard, but the cutting process went pretty smoothly. I drew lines around the keg perpendicular to the outside using a square, and then I followed the line with my 9-inch cordless angle grinder. For the tricky parts, I busted out my Sawzall with a metal cutting blade. I then took the keg outside to spray it out with some water. It had some of the dust that was in it from cutting, as well as a little bit of beer left over from when it was an actual keg. I then cut out the center bar that's used to pressurize the keg using that same 9-inch grinder. That thing came in handy a ton on this project. I move on to the base, which I'll be using 1-inch square tubing. I cut all the parts on my metal cutting chop saw, and then I laid them out and beveled all of the edges that would be welded. That gives the weld somewhere to go and somewhere to penetrate. I lay them out on the table to make sure everything's nice and square, and then I begin tacking up the frame. Now when you're doing any type of metalwork, you want to make sure you tack it together first. That way if anything's out of square or misaligned, you're able to fix it before you actually put your hard welds down. With that being said, I move on to test fitting the keg, and it fits perfectly. So now that the keg fits, I move on to finish welding the entire stand, which is a lot of interior, exterior, outside, vertical, all kinds of welds on this one. But it's good practice to get these little welds. Here I'm just making sure I'm reinforcing all the joints, as you can see, and I am putting full welds into every corner. I then plug all the holes on the top with a tab. I weld those on long, and then you can see I'm just cutting those to length after they're welded in. I smooth everything out with the flap disc on my angle grinder to make it all nice and flush. Move on to the sign, where I'll shishigibon a piece of Doug fir here, and then I put it in the CNC to reveal the logo as well as the letters. This CNC is my Axiom Pro 8. I've had this thing for a good while now, and I've learned the software pretty decently, and man oh man is this thing a game changer. If you want to see more from Axiom, I do have a link in the description below. Back to the keg, I do have to drill a hole in the base, and that was a problem. I burned through this stepper bit, as you can see. Stainless steel is very hard, so you want to make sure you have the right tools for this, but it ended up working pretty decently with that stepper there. I moved back over to finishing up some of the edges with the flap disc on my angle grinder, and then I begin cleaning up the keg. I wipe it down with acetone, and then I hit it with the wire wheel. The wire wheel abrades the surface decently to get it to an very inconsistent sheen, and then I come back with my metal finisher, as you can see here, and I blend it all out really nice, and it turned out looking pretty sharp. Once I have all that wrapped up, I spray the inside of the keg with some plasti dip. Plasti dip is like a plastic spray paint, and it lays on really cool. I did this to get some contrast on the interior of the keg when it's filled. Helps you see what's inside of it a little bit better, and plus this stuff is water resistant. People use it on their vehicles, rims, all kinds of stuff. I then prime and paint the base with a black satin enamel paint. The sign gets a clear coat of Minwax polyacrylic, which is an awesome finish for DIYers and professionals alike. I then caulk in the spigot for the bottom, and screw the sign into the base, and that's a wrap. This thing is all put together and ready for some beer.
So this build was a lot of fun. I've never worked with a keg before. Found out after I cut into it, this one was stainless steel, which was kind of challenging, but we worked through it. I was able to do a little bit of TIG welding. I had my original plans. I had to stray from those, but I think it turned out awesome. It looks great. The client's super happy, and I am also very happy. I want to send a big thank you out to Lincoln Electric for sponsoring this build. As you guys know, I've been working with Lincoln for years and they are my go-to for everything metalworking. If you want to see the tools that I use, you can check out the link in the description. When you support my sponsors, you support me. If you guys want to see a full write-up on this build, make sure you're checking out my blog where I'll have more photographs and more detailed walkthrough on if you want to build something similar. Also, make sure you're checking me out on Instagram at John_Malecki, where you can get behind the scenes and you'll actually see the projects way before they come out here on YouTube. If you like what I'm doing, hit that thumbs up and subscribe button, and then hit that little bell too so you get a notification every time I post a video. I want to thank you guys one more time for tuning in. Go punch your next project in the face, and I'll see you on the next video.